You want to listen to a podcast?
By who?
Georgia GOP Congressman Doug Collins.
How is it?
The greatest thing I have ever heard in my whole life.
I could not believe my ears.
In this house, wherever the rules are disregarded, chaos and mob rule. It has been said today, where is bravery? I'll tell you where bravery is found and courage is found. It's found in this minority who has lived through the last year of nothing but rules being broken, people being put down, questions not being answered, and this majority say, be damned with anything else. We're going to impeach and do whatever we want to do. Why? Because we won an election. I guarantee you, one day you'll be back in the minority and it ain't gonna be that fun. All right, folks, welcome back. Wednesday, this is part 2 of our look ahead, very early look ahead at the Senate races. A quick reminder before we jump into it here after the commercial break. Top 5 seats we talked about in the last cycle were West Virginia, Montana, Arizona, Ohio, and Nevada, all of which have different unique factors playing into them. The biggest factor being the top 3, which are the 3 most flippable seats, are all heavily Republican seats or lean heavily Republican seats that are currently held by Democrats. So the Democrats are going to be spending a lot of money early on to try and keep their incumbents propped up here. We'll see how that goes. I laid out those pros and cons in the last episode. Go back and check out the Doug Collins podcast. Go wherever you get your podcast. You can click on where you got this one. Click on subscribe. That way you don't miss any of the episodes as we go forward. You'll get it already delivered into your inbox. You'll know what have it. You'll have all of these insights on politics. You'll have the Friday's Finest with James and I. You don't want to miss these episodes. So just go ahead and click subscribe. And if you can, go ahead and rate the podcast. Hit us a 5 on there. Rate us. And then if you want to get in touch with me, go to the podcast webpage, DougCollinsPodcast.com. Hit the email button and send me some emails from there. I'd love to talk to you about whatever you would like to see here on the podcast and maybe input that you have from listening to the podcast. All right, here after the break, we'll be back with the next 5 in the top 10 Senate races for 2024. Hey, everybody, you know about Legacy Precious Metals. Legacy Precious Metals, you hear from them. We talk once a month. We talk about Legacy Precious Metals, talking about precious metals being part of your portfolio, how they're your navigator. Well, now they're not only navigating in a new way, they're actually giving you a new way to buy gold and silver. In fact, Legacy Precious Metals has developed a revolutionary new online platform that allows you to invest in real gold and silver online. In a few easy steps, you can open an account online, select your metals of choice, and choose to have them stored in a vault or shipped to your door. I'm more of a ship to my door kind of person. I enjoy having them with me, but they can do it either way, and you can now do it online. It gives you real access to a dashboard where you can track your portfolio growth in real time, anytime. You'll see transparent pricing on each coin and bar. This puts you in complete control of your money. This platform is free to sign up for. Just visit LegacyPMInvestments.com and open your account and see this new investing platform for yourself. Gold hedges against inflation and is against a volatile stock market. A true diversified portfolio isn't just more stocks and bonds, but a different asset class. This platform allows you to make investments in gold and silver, no matter how small or large, with just a few clicks. Remember, do as I have done. Go to LegacyPMInvestments.com and get started today. And now you've got a new tool to help you along in your investments. Hey folks, MyPillow is excited to bring to you their biggest bedding sale ever. For a limited time, you're going to get the Giza Dream bed sheets for as low as $29.98, a set of pillowcases for only $9.98, and rejuvenate your bed with a MyPillow mattress topper for as low as $99.99. $99.99, get a mattress pillow topper. Look, they come in all sizes. They got all kinds of stuff, blankets. They've got duvets. They've got quilts. They got comforters. They got body pillows. They got bolster pillows. They got all at big, big discounts. And also, they're extending their money-back guarantee for Christmas until March 1, 2023, making them the perfect gift for your friends, your family, and for everyone you know. Folks, and just from a personal note here, I have the Giza Dream sheets. They're on my bed right now. I slept on them last night. Some of the best sheets that we and Lisa and I have ever owned. They are worth, I mean, at this price, they're a steal. My wife and I have bought bed sheets, linens at much higher cost. It's supposedly much higher quality. These from MyPillow are at the highest of quality, and at a price like this, you can't beat it. So go now to MyPillow.com, use promo code Collins, COLLINS, or call 1-800-986-3994, and you'll get huge discounts on all the MyPillow bedding products, including the Giza Dream bed sheets for as low as $29.98, and get all your shopping done while qualities last. And remember, put in that promo code Collins for these discounts. All right, let's get into some more of these races, and we're going to plow through these fairly quickly, but I do want to touch on them because they're important. These are the races that are in play, but not as in play as the top 5. So we'll see how this goes. And a couple of these races I'm going to throw in just because they're going to be interesting races. I don't see them actually changing. One we'll talk about, we've already talked about here on the podcast with my Democrat colleague, Kevin Walling. So let's jump into this. Wisconsin comes in at number 6. Tammy Baldwin, current senator from there, announced she is running for a 3rd term. That automatically sort of helps out there in a state that has been moving back and forth between Republican and Democrat, some good, some bad, depending on your perspective as far as your political affiliation. But having her as running for a 3rd term, she's been there 12 years, is an advantage to what is going on, and also really not having to worry about a primary cycle in Wisconsin. She is raising money. She's got about $4 million in the bank. $2.1 million came out of first quarter. Baldwin, right down the line, liberal. In the purest form, and this will be part of this race. The question for the Senate committee is who in Wisconsin can run and present a formidable challenge. Now, remember, as we get down into these seats are in play, but they're not as in play as the top 5 because of what we've seen in the elections going forward. Remember, last fall, Democrats took the recent Supreme Court election, and which the Democrat-backed candidate won by 10 points, and that flipped the control of the bench to the liberals. The competitiveness of the state is in the fact that in 2020, Biden only won the state by half a point. So the question you can legitimately ask yourself is the 10-point judges race an anomaly, or is the Biden-Trump race the anomaly? That'll be the interesting part. And Trump, because Trump won it by a very similar margin just 4 years prior. So we'll have to see, how this plays out if they get a strong candidate. Mike Gallagher, whom a congressman from Wisconsin is being talked about. Mike would be a very strong candidate in the Republican field, very strong candidate, I think, going up against Baldwin. Sean Duffy has been mentioned. Sean, currently a Fox News host, and his wife is on mornings, weekends on Fox. I've heard his name mentioned, and he's getting a lot of push to go back and do it. I don't think that is going to. He got out because of family several years ago. I just don't see him jumping back into a race in which will be such high profile as this Wisconsin Senate race against Baldwin. Now, if he did, he would be a very formidable candidate, just like Gallagher would be a very formidable candidate. Tom Tiffany, I mean, if you're in the delegation up in Wisconsin, you're being thought about for this Senate seat. Gallagher, I think, likes where he's at. It'll be interesting to see if he actually gets in it. Then that leaves us with actually 2 other folks who one, Eric Hovid, he lost the GOP Senate nomination back in 12, Scott Mayer. And then you got David Clark, who was a Milwaukee County sheriff. Many of you have seen David during the last election cycle, and also on many of the media and social media pages as well. So Wisconsin is not shaped yet. It's an in-play seat simply based on performance, but I think it's going to be interesting to see who the actual Republican is in this race, and I think that would determine how close or how much money will be spent to flip this seat from Tammy Baldwin. You get a strong Republican that can get this thing very close. This could be one of the more expensive races and also the closest race that we see going forward. All right, let's move to number 7, Michigan. This is going to be the first open seat in this process that we've talked about, and that is that Debbie Stabenow is retiring in this. Elise Slotkin, who was in a very tough Democrat seat to hold in the House, is cleared the Democratic field. Looks like Elise will be the Democrat, coming out of this nomination process. There is a possibility of some others getting in, But right now, Slotkin's fundraising. She's out there doing it. She's out there raising the money. $3 million first quarter. This could get interesting there. And then you got the Republican side, and you've got names that are been out there for a while. James Craig, who finished second and sixth. Rinke was a businessman. James Craig, in the last year's governor's primary, both lost. Although Craig could be a more formidable candidate, he had to do it as a write-in because of invalid signatures. But look, Democrats had a good year last year in Michigan, and they took the top three posts and flipped the state legislature. Biden only won it by 3 points, but again, this one is not one, if I'm a Republican, I'm feeling all warm and fuzzy about right now. This is one in which I think is going to be an uphill battle to find a candidate. Peter Mayer, who is a member of Congress who got beat in the last race, actually in his race for re-election, he voted to impeach Trump and probably would be very difficult in a splintered Republican field for him. Other members of Congress from up in that area have not gave any indication that they're looking to run. So I put this, this has been a 7. It could be a 10 actually, because I think this was just going to be a very tough, look at how they're going to do it. So we'll see how that works out as we move forward here, going into this cycle. If the Republicans and the Republican Party up there is struggling to get together as well, and so that just leads you to believe that Michigan could actually, I think, fall further down on this list as we get closer to this time next year, looking at the potential for flips in the Senate races. That leads us to number 8 with Bob Casey, the incumbent out of Pennsylvania. Casey did decide to run. He's had some health issues, but he is running for a 4th term. He is, very well known. He won re-election by 13 points in 2018. I guess it was 2017 when he ran the last time. So, like I said, he's very well known. And also, let me just say this: they're looking to see if Dave McCormick will get back in this race. He lost the GOP nomination to Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz is nowhere to be found in Pennsylvania right now. That will not happen again. I don't see it. And, again, the Republicans have struggled in Pennsylvania. I think the field would clear out for the most part for McCormick. Mastriano, who lost the governor's race by 15 points last year, and many people feel was very much of a drain on the Republican turnout in Pennsylvania, is not running at this time. So it will be interesting to see if McCormick is, sort of clears the field and makes it a McCormick Casey race. I have some contacts in Pennsylvania. Casey's going to be tough to beat. He's just more of an institution up there. With the Republican president and the Republican primaries up there, the presidential cycle this year, could this race get a lot closer? Yes, and this I think why most, including myself, have put this race out there as one to watch, because Pennsylvania has a lot of different perspectives that are coming forth in the Republican Party. You got a split in the Republican Party. You had the Mastriano branch, you had the McCormick branch, you had the Oz branch, you had the Kathy Barnett branch. And I just don't know if they've gotten back together yet. We've not seen, evidence in the election cycles. The congressional candidates did fine, but on the statewide level, these were just not playing out the way they did in the cycle last year. So will they, is there going to be a healing between now and the next primary cycle? We'll see. And then the question will be, whoever wins the primary cycle, if they can, are they actually going to be able to, come together and get all Republicans on the page to vote for a Republican over a Democrat? Great questions. We'll find out. at this point in time, I just, I'm not sure. So what is it? Pennsylvania is in that look and see category. Could it become a very tight race? Yes. Could it become a race that sort of falls off a lot like Michigan? I could see that happening as well. Here is the next race. Here is number 9, and this is the race that I just find hilarious. That at this point, and look, these next 2 are the ones that everybody's talking about because they're in cycle, and they're in states that are large with a lot of money that's going to be spent. First one, Texas. Incumbent Republican Ted Cruz. This will be his 3rd time at re-election. The first time Beto O'Rourke tried to unseat him in 2018. He lost, O'Rourke lost by 3 points. O'Rourke is not going to get in this race. Colin Allred looks like he's going to be the Democrat in this race. And that is what is giving, quote, hope to the Democrats that this could somehow be their year to take Texas. I just don't see this. Again, Cruz has raised money. Cruz at times can be unlikable. I think that's been a consistent thought even among Republicans about him, but nobody has got the ability to take him out in a primary. And, the Democrats have railed against Ted Cruz for years, and he's consistently won. So, I mean, I just, Allred provides a competent, candidate to run against Cruz. I don't see how this is going to change, because what we're actually seeing in Texas, you're seeing more Hispanic votes on the border actually move toward the Republicans. We saw Republicans keep a seat on the border that nobody ever thought they would keep. So I have to bring it up here because you're going to hear a lot about it, and Democrats are going to make a big deal about it, just as they did when the O'Rourke race in Cruz started, in 18. But we'll see how this one plays out. Just put it on your radar. I mean, it's going to be there. The other one to put on the radar is another candidate like Ted Cruz, who is the incumbent in Florida, and that's Rick Scott. And Rick Scott barely won his first election in 2018 as a fraction of a point, followed by very narrow wins for governor. Rubio and DeSantis won with commanding victories last year, though. So this is going to be an interesting. I think this will be where we are able to determine how far we have gotten with Florida turning red. How much was the DeSantis Marco Rubio victory last year in saying that this is turned red? How much was a reaction to a certain governor candidate, Ron DeSantis, who had a very good run with COVID, disaster relief, and also not really having a very strong Democrat opponent to start with. So this is going to be the play that comes out here. At this point, Scott still has a lot of issues from his hospital chain company. He's very wealthy. He can put money in here. He also, if you remember, put out the policy statement. He ran the Republican Senate committee last year, which was criticized greatly for a lot of the candidates that they supported, and then not taking the Senate and losing the Senate. And I think that's going to come back a little bit there. I just don't see the Democrats having a good plan to come out against Scott. They're going to use some of the Medicare and Medicaid stuff against him. He'll have to spend a lot of money. Will this be another close race? Yes, I think it'll be another very close race. But at the end of the day, I think Scott holds this, just like I believe Cruz holds it. And we'll see how it all works out from there. So, folks, again, I wanted to give you just a 2-day, just sort of quick, Cliff Notes version of the races that are shaping up. We may try to do this for House races. Because with only a 4-seat majority in the House, the Democrats are going to be heavily gunning to get those seats back. And in a presidential year race, Turnout's heavy. Those could flip in some of the areas. We'll see how redistricting has actually helped Republicans and in some ways helped Democrats as we go forward. Remember, if it wasn't for New York, nobody would have predicted this last year. If it wasn't for New York, Republicans would have never taken the House. And I think that's something very, very important for people to realize as we're going through this, that, it's a matter of what's happening at the moment. And we're so far out now. If you have people telling you that this is what's going to happen, this is how it's going to happen, be very careful. Run away from them, because right now we're talking eternity of time in these presidential races and these Senate races and these governor's races and these House races of where we are here in early June to where we will be in November of next year. So wanted to give us an early heads up, early look at it. That's what the early look is for here. Got Friday's Finest coming up later this week. So that's it for now. We'll see you next time on the Doug Collins Podcast.